Good morning, UCB. I trust you all enjoyed a Merry Christmas and are now looking forward to all the promise a new year brings. How many of you are making New Year's resolutions this year? Maybe, like me, you haven't had the best track record at resolution keeping and have abandoned the whole thing. In all honesty, I've begun thinking about the possibility of resurrecting the practice. With age, I've gained some self-discipline that I didn't have when I was younger. So, maybe. But then I get a bit overwhelmed at all the possibilities for resolutions. Lose some weight. Needed, but daunting. Eat healthier. Better, but too vague. Start meditating, also known as watch my mind wander in every possible direction all at once. Be kind. Yes. But again, vague. Join a gym. What? You don't even drive. How do you expect to get to a gym? Keep up on your housework. Is this really important in the grand scheme of things? If I'm going to bother with resolutions at all, shouldn't they make a difference? Stop wearing pajama bottoms when I'm on Zoom. Okay, not only do you all know my secret now, but let's be honest here. One of the greatest gifts of Zoom is only ever having to be half dressed. Why should I look a proverbial gift horse in the mouth? Luckily, it seems that we are not alone when it comes to New Year's resolutions. There is a history behind the practice, and I was surprised by just how far back it can be traced. The first New Year's resolutions date back over 4,000 years ago to the ancient Babylonians. The Babylonian people began the tradition during Akitu, a 12-day New Year celebration. They would make promises to the gods to do things like pay their debts or return things they had borrowed. It was believed that if they kept their resolutions, they would find favor with the gods, but if not, would fall on the bad side of their gods. Now, since we all know what happened to Babylon, I think it fair to hypothesize that Babylonians were no better at resolution keeping than their modern day counterparts. The practice of resolution making and breaking is also well documented in ancient Rome in the Middle Ages as well. In fact, ever since Babylon, the thread of this ritual is woven through time. Resolution making, as we know it today, became common practice by the 17th century. Fortunately, the focus had shifted from pleasing the gods to improving the self. But I still think we need a new way of approaching resolutions, lest we add one more gym membership that will pay on for 10 and a half more months than we'll actually use it. Typically, the formula has been something like looking backwards, combined with bashing of the self for our miserable condition, committing to resolving said condition, failing to keep these commitments, then falling into more self-loathing and at best despondency, at worst despair. I'd like to propose a different formula. First, let us look back to see where improvements can be made. Next, look ahead and imagine what these improvements would look like. Can you see yourself eating a salad at every dinner? If so, great. But if you really don't enjoy salad, then maybe look at other ways to eat healthier. Look to where you are now. Now, even if I could fully imagine myself at the gym 3 days a week, where I am now tells me that I have no way to get there and that I really don't need another monthly expense right now. Look around you. Are you being influenced by Weight Watchers who plan 80% of their advertising budget annually to be spent between the day after Christmas and the end of January? Are your resolutions simply to improve your life in some fashion? Or do they also benefit the world around you? Look within. Are you hearing old voices of your parents, spouse, or even old pastor trying to tell you how to conduct yourself? What about the voice of our still speaking God? What are those whispers saying to you? Now, I can't tell you what your New Year's resolutions should be, or even if you should make New Year's resolutions at all. That is something only each of you can decide. But I do believe that by incorporating the formula, that you have a more holistic way of making those decisions. What I will speak to, however, is the making of congregational resolutions. I propose we use the same formula. What improvements can UCV make? No congregational bashing, but what do we do that we can do better? What do we currently not do that we might want to try? Imagine. What do we want to accomplish? What does it look like? What kind of world do we want to help create? What does that feel like? Where are we now? Does the budget support our resolutions? Do we have enough support from volunteers to do what we want? When we look around us, where can we make a difference? Are our ideas based on the ideas or actions of others? Interestingly, Jesus often spoke about healing people, often fed hungry people, often taught people how to treat others. He rarely spoke or acted on overthrowing corrupt governments or institutions. And yet, what is God desiring of us? Now, we heard a couple passages this morning that God always chooses justice, steadfast love, kindness, humility, and to walk with God. What else is Spirit whispering in the ears of UCV? In the months ahead, we will have opportunities to make resolutions as a congregation. As soon as January 21st, for instance, we'll be able to formulate our mission and vision statements through a vote at the annual congregational meeting. Resolve now to imagine so that you can imagine to resolve. Soon we will resurrect the study of just peace. And this too will be a resolution-making opportunity on a collective level, where we will decide if we want to pursue becoming a designated Just Peace church. Now, while this might seem like a no-brainer, still plan to attend the study where we will examine at least 10 concrete ways to act out justice and peace. A plan increases the odds of resolutions surviving past February. I'm sure there will be other opportunities as the year progresses as well. Which leads me to my last point about New Year's resolutions. They don't have to be limited to New Year's. Nope. We can make MLK Day resolutions or August 18th resolutions. And resolutions carried out, no matter when they are made, are often how revolutions begin. Amen. And Happy New Year's, everyone.